Hey there, welcome to LC Yoga. My name is Laura, and today is a nice relaxing flow. So we're going to spend a lot of time on the ground. You may want some props. So go ahead and grab your bolster, blanket, sweatshirts, pillows, maybe a block, maybe some books, just to support you in some of the poses. If you're ready, go ahead and get on your mat, and I'll meet you there. We'll begin in a simple seated position. So find a comfortable seat. We're not going to start meditation, so you don't need to sit up on something, but you can if you want to. That makes your hips feel better. Just a simple cross-legged position, nothing fancy. And let the hands fall to the knees. Let the shoulders drop away from the ears. We're just going to start with a few simple stretches. So we'll begin with the neck. So first let the neck go forward. So let the head drop slowly, chin toward the chest, just until you have a nice little mild stretch in the back of the neck. And then come on up to neutral. Then let your right ear fall toward your right shoulder. No need to pull, just let gravity take over. Gentle stretch. You may want to turn your chin down or up to find where you really need the stretch. And then when you find that good spot, hang out there. Keep moving if you want. Sometimes we need stretch in more than one place. Find it. And then let the chin go down toward the chest. And then bring the head back up. And we'll take the other side. So let the left ear go toward the left shoulder. Check that out. And maybe turning the head up or down. Just finding the good stretch and then hang out there. And when you're ready, let the chin come down toward the chest and bring the head back up. And we'll take some side stretches. Right hand down to your right side and then reach your left arm up. Bend into your right elbow to side bend toward the right. You're going to turn your chest up toward the sky. And you can let that left arm float or maybe bring the hand behind the head to support the neck. And you're just twisting toward the left, just to where you have a nice side stretch. Let the left hip get heavy, dropping down, open up. This is especially good if you've been sitting a lot. And then come on back up, and we'll just take the other side. So left hand down, right arm up, floating overhead, twisting toward the right this time. Maybe you'll get a nice snap, crackle, pop in the back. I just did. A little adjustment. I have been sitting a lot. Let the right hip get heavy. Don't crunch too much into the left side. Let the armpit go up and away from your left hand. And then I'll take the stretch into a different place. And then come on back up. And let's do that one more time just because that's awesome. So let's go to the right. Armpit away from right hand. Press into that, twisting toward the left. Deep breaths. And then back to the left side, twisting toward the right. Breathe into whatever you want to get longer and stretch. And come on back to center, and then we'll just twist it toward the right. So bring your left hand to your right knee, right fingertips tented behind, just a gentle twist from the belly button. Couple of breaths there, and then take that to the other side. And then come on back to center. Now extend your right foot out. So in your kind of a half Upavishta or wide-legged seat, right? So your right leg is out, your left foot is pretty much where it was, or maybe closer to the thigh. And here we're going to take a bit of a stretch going forward. So your hamstrings are going to say, not super happy about that. So you may want to bend into your right knee and then support it. So if you're feeling kind of tight, find a blanket or a pillow, support that knee, and we just want to tilt the pelvis forward. All right, so you may want to sit up on something to help make that happen. And we're just going to start to fold forward. But we're going to do it mindfully. We're just going to flop down. So we want the chest going forward. Just start to lean, really paying attention to the pelvis. You really want the top of your pelvis, your hip bones, to get closer to your thighs, so it's really tilting forward. That keeps the lower back long. We don't want to round and pull into the back, so we want to keep that straight. So keep the knee as bent as it needs to be in order to help that happen. And you have some options here. So you can hang out right here, or you can come back up and you can turn and do that kind of runner stretch we all did in gym class when we were little, and just start to fold over your right leg. And that gives you a nice little side stretch at the same time. So this one's more for the leg and the side. If you go towards the front, that brings it more into the hip, the inner thigh. Your choice. Now let the breath get nice and deep. And while it doesn't feel like we're doing much, we're doing a lot here. We're getting into the connective tissue, which helps with mobility. We're stretching some of the muscles. Stretching is exercise just as much as muscular engagement. It's just a different kind. So it's kind of the other half of our yoga practice. So no pain, no pinching. You want to move around a lot, but if you find you want to explore the other position, go ahead. Just find what you need. You may come down onto elbows going if you're facing the front, but if so, kind of press the hips back so you can keep that tilt going. Just a couple more breaths here. And then we'll come on up, nice and slow. And then come back to that cross-legged position. Just kind of feel that. And we'll take it to the other side. So let your left foot go out. If the back of the knee comes to the floor and you can come forward, great. But you may want some support under a bent knee. You can tilt the pelvis and start to let the heart go forward. And you'll find the longer you sit in each pose, your body will start to let you in. So what we do is we come to our edge, which is a place where it's challenging but not painful. You find that edge and then you just hang out there. You hold for time. And then when you start to feel that edge recede, you can come forward a little more. Find your next edge. What we're doing right now is Yin Yoga, which is long held static poses. And while it is exercise and we're working more into the connective tissue, it can also be deeply relaxing. So my favorite way to practice Yin Yoga is with my eyes closed. Just breathe deep into the places where you feel the most sensation. Because it's not about what the pose looks like at all. It's just about what it feels like. So as you're breathing deep, just imagine those tight places opening up, getting longer, getting wider. Couple more breaths here. And then come on up. You can get rid of that blanket just for a moment, or pillow, or whatever you had. And you're going to bring your left foot close to your right hip. And then your right foot goes over. And what we're going to do is try to stack the knees, but they don't have to stack. They can be off center like that, no problem. We're just working toward stacking the knees. If this doesn't feel good, especially on that bottom knee, go ahead and straighten that knee, and you can do this pose with a straight leg. And since we're going to start to tilt forward, you may actually want to sit up on something, and that's going to help you come forward. So no tweaking of the knees in this pose. Don't let it happen. If the top knee is uncomfortable, you can hold it, or you can put something underneath, like a blanket, and support it that way, whether the leg is straight or bent. We're really just going for a hip stretch here in the outer right hip. So let's mine for that. And press into the floor with the outer edges of your feet, if both feet are on the floor and your both knees are bent. I'm just going to start to tilt forward. And again, just like we did with the other forward fold, we're going to let the heart go forward. We're not rounding like that. We're just letting the heart go forward. I'm just looking for that outer hip stretch. Deep breaths here into the hip. If that doesn't feel like much, you can come forward more, or maybe add a twist by placing your left elbow onto the right knee and then press to twist toward the right. Kind of pulling your knee and the hip away from each other. That's where the nice stretch is. And if you are twisting, you want to feel the twist near your belly button. Right? We're not just tweaking the shoulders and pulling the shoulders, but we're actually twisting from the middle spine. And then come on back to center if you twisted. Come forward, feel that stretch. And then bring the hands behind you so you can just simply switch sides. Work towards stacking the knees. Again, bottom leg can be straight out in front of you. And we're just going to start to tilt forward. Support that top knee if needed. Heart goes forward. Hips opening. If you want to add the twist, bring your right elbow to the left knee and twist toward the left. Deep breaths. Come on back to center if you twisted, and we'll come on up. And release that, just come to a simple cross-legged position. And the next thing we're going to do is for the spines. We're going to do a little gentle back bend. So if you have a bolster, that works. Put it long ways on the mat and bring it to your lower back. If you don't have a bolster, no problem. Get a blanket and just roll it up. Or maybe find some pillows, but something that you can kind of back bend over comfortably and also open the shoulder. So you kind of want it, tube shaped. So a rolled up blanket works really well. Whatever you have, bring it to your lower back, and we're just going to walk the hands back so that we can kind of back bend over it. But don't just flop down. Feel your way through. Make sure that's working for your lower back. And coming down onto elbows, and make sure that your head is supported. You just want to comfortably lay here. You can keep your legs in a cross-legged position. You may want to bring the bottoms of the feet together, let the knees go out to the side, butterfly or Baddha Konasana. Or you can just straighten the legs. Now, as for your arms, turn the palms up and let the arms kind of go out to the side, and that's just going to open your shoulders. And this is another one to kind of reverse all that sitting we do. We're slouching, rounding the lower back, and our shoulders curl inward, and all those muscles get over contracted and overstretches the back muscles. That's why we end up with back pain and shoulder pain and neck pain and headaches. So we're just going to open that up and reverse it. So find the leg position that works for you. Make sure you feel supported. That you're finding an edge, which means you feel a little sensation on the lower back, but it's not painful at all. Just close the eyes and let this sink in. If it ever feels like too much, back right up out of it. Maybe make your pillow higher. Roll up another blanket to make it taller. It reduces the amount of bend in your back. And if that feels like too much, you may just want to lie flat on the ground. That may be enough. All of us are different. We have to find what works for us. Breathe and open. A few more breaths here. This one's really working for you. You may want to pause the video and hang out here longer. Otherwise, we're going to come out nice and slow. So maybe bring the legs back into a simple cross-legged. Bring the fingertips behind the head and start to just lift the head so you're not straining in the neck. And then bring the elbows to the ground. And then your hands, and just press up into a seated position. Bring the hands to the knees, close the eyes, and just sit tall. Just kind of absorbing that back bend, and let the spine come back to neutral. You can roll your bolster blanket out of the way and then roll over the knees so you can walk the knees back and then come into a wide-legged child's pose. So let the knees go wide and just start to drape the torso in between the knees and let the arms go out in front of you. Rest the forehead on the mat and just sink down. Just counterposing that gentle back bend, letting the lower back open up. You can stay right there if you want, or you can add a little bit of a side stretch just by walking the arms over toward the left and then lean into the right armpit. Just stretch the side waist. Breathe into that. And then come on back to center and we'll take the other side. So walk the arms over toward the right, lean into the left armpit. And then come on back to center. And come on up to hands and knees. Walk the knees forward. Roll down onto our backs. We'll do a couple of twists and then rest in Shavasana. So drawing the knees in toward the chest, give them a little tug. And we'll take a simple twist. So you have some choices here. You can scoot the hips a little bit toward the right, draw the knees in toward the chest, and then let them drop over toward the left. Let the arms float out into a T shape, both shoulders on the ground, and if they're not, place something under the knees to help that happen. If that feels good, close the eyes, hang out there. If you want a little more, you may want to straighten the bottom leg and draw that top knee across. Intensifying the hip stretch, turn and look toward the right. Few deep breaths there. And then we'll come on back to center and take the same thing on the other side. So maybe scoot the hips slightly to the left, draw the knees in, and drop the knees over toward the right. Arms stretch out into a T shape, turn and look to the left. Maybe straightening the bottom leg, and drawing that top knee across with your right hand. Both shoulders are on the ground. Then release that. Come on back to center. Let the legs stretch long along the mat. Feet flop open. Hands flop open. Snuggle the shoulders in. Get comfortable. Shavasana. Just let everything sink into the floor. Scan the body, releasing any holding. We have nothing to do, nowhere to go. Now you can stay here as long as you like, absorbing this energy, relaxing into the floor. When you're ready, start to bend the knees and bring the bottoms of the feet to the earth, hands to the upper thighs. Draw the knees in toward the chest. Wrap your arms around them, give them a little squeeze. And roll on up to sit. Find a simple cross-legged position or half lotus. Bring the backs of the hands to the knees, close the eyes. Sometimes we need to move tension through the body in order to relax. Sometimes we need to exercise in a relaxing way. Both of those take a little getting used to. Once we figure that out, real change can happen. Bring the hands in prayer in front of the heart, bow the head slightly. Namaste.